Friends, welcome. I'm pro-life leader Frank Pavone, National Director of Priests for Life, bringing you my daily diary segment. What did I do on Monday, September 18th, Tuesday the 19th, Wednesday the 20th, and Thursday the 21st of September of 2023? This is my daily diary report. Well, on the morning of the 18th, I was here in my Titusville office, having gotten back the night before from a trip, which I told you in the previous segment. Started off doing some early taping in the studio and for some programs for the week and getting right on email and updating with staff, having morning administrative phone calls, our staff briefing at 8:30, and then dealing with the following topics throughout the course of the day on my email and in my meetings. The Michigan March for Life coming up, some work in terms of our participation in that day. Follow up to the big conservative leaders meeting that I was part of recently, some data work with our data team, preparation of the monthly statement, as we call it. Those of you who are donors to us each and every month, we invite more of you to be part of that as well. The Trump campaign, communication with them, and work on upcoming trips and invitations that we have been getting, work on getting ready to send our donors birthday cards. If we have their birthdays, we like to do that. Some work relating to the pro-lifers who are in prison and work we're doing to support them, including legally. Communication with a prominent researcher on abortion in America, Mary Ziegler, whose work I really admire. Walk for Life in January, Walk for Life West Coast, doing communication with the leaders of that, and preparation for a survey that we want to put out there in the field in regard to abortion and the elections. We'll tell you more about that as time goes on. We had 10:30 a meeting with our technology department, gave them some guidance and some work that needs to be done. Then continued with office work into the afternoon on many of the things I just mentioned. And of course, when I'm here in the office, always having meetings throughout the office with various staff to make sure that our projects are hitting the target. At 4 o'clock, I taped a program here in the studio for the evening broadcast of Praying for America. Did get work at my desk getting end-of-day updates from staff, and then at 6 o'clock had a phone call with Mark from our administrative team, getting more end-of-day updates after that. Signed some cards in the evening, these birthday cards and other cards that we send out to people for various occasions. That was the conclusion of the day, Monday the 18th. Tuesday the 19th, we actually began our pastoral team meeting, so I'm going to consult that schedule also here as I run through the day. Had the morning administrative phone calls and meetings. Then had a 8:30 staff briefing, this time with an expanded number of our staff coming in from other locations and other offices that we have around the country and around the world, actually. We have an office over in Rome. Work on my emails included a special program we are planning with our correspondence associate, plans for the Walk for Life in January, work regarding opposing the FACE law, which we've been opposing since it came out in 1994, very unconstitutional law, communication with a pro-life researcher, and communication with the Legatus organization, about which we're going to have more to say in other broadcasts you know about Legatus. Then we had our meeting at 9:40 in regard to follow-up from recent trips, staff to whom we give the responsibility of following up with leaders that we meet on these trips and various kinds of work like that. We had to do that meeting at 9:40, followed by 10 o'clock, our pastoral team got together, not the whole staff, but the pastoral team, those who travel and speak, together with, that 10 o'clock meeting, was the full, that was the, what was that? That was the pastoral team. Okay, yes, because we give updates to the pastoral team specifically about things like website statistics, social media statistics, resource department statistics about our sales of our pro-life products, and then our changes on our website. So that's right, that was the pastoral team meeting, 10 o'clock. Then at 11, I went back to working with various staff and the emails on the topics I mentioned. And then at 11:55, just before getting lunch ready, I did an interview with the Washington Times, actually a podcaster, one of the reporters, a podcaster for the Times. So I did that interview. That lasted until about 12:15, 12:20. And then I had some lunch, followed by a 1 o'clock meeting with Krista from our Washington, D.C. office, and she also handles a lot of website work. Continued after that, catching up with those topics I mentioned on my emails, and then got in the car and drove down to Jensen Beach, a couple of hours south of where I am here, in order to go to see Dan Bongino, who was doing a book signing there in Jensen Beach. Now, on the way there, I had several conference calls that I did through the audio system of my car that was attached to my iPhone. So 3 o'clock, a meeting with our international team that work at the United Nations and in Rome. Followed at 3:30, a meeting with our Rachel's Vineyard team and our executive director. Followed at 4 o'clock by a meeting with Kevin Burke, who's also connected with Rachel's Vineyard and also with Silent No More, and our executive director. So those 3 meetings, all 3 in a row, landed me just in time to get to my destination, in which I then interacted with so many great patriots. Some of you may have been there at the book signing and had some great conversations with political leaders from across the state of Florida, as we also talked with Dan Bongino, got a copy of his latest book. Some great conversation with him, thanking us for our pro-life work, and he's very aware of the persecutions that we have been subject to. He, of course, takes a lot of heat for what he says and what he does, but that's how you know you're over the target. Wednesday, then I drove back. Of course, I had dinner at a local restaurant and then drove back here to my office later that night, and in the course of doing so, had some more phone conversations, actually, and also updates with the team, and also listening to various podcasts relating to our work as I drove back. Then came Wednesday, September 20th, up early again and doing some preparatory work. Let's see, some of the topics I had to deal with via email included upcoming trips, of course. Let's see, media interviews coming up. Newsmax column that I write for them regularly every 2 weeks. Promotion of our app for See Baby Grow, key pro-life new app to educate people about the unborn. A fax to all the churches across America, prepared that. Did media work in terms of communication with media in terms of a story that has come out about artificial wombs. Looking ahead to this spring, the Heartbeat International Conference at which we always speak, I worked on the proposal. We're going to submit to them for a workshop, and then more work on travel-related details. Our administrative phone calls in the morning, our staff briefing at 8:30. But actually, before the staff briefing, I did a national media interview with Jenna Ellis for her program. I was on with her, and then was together with the staff, where we got updates from various branches of our ministry, including Rachel's Vineyard, which I serve as pastoral director, and update from Dr. Teresa Burke herself, and from our youth outreach coordinator, street activism coordinator, Brian Kemper, and other reports. That went from 8:30 to 9:30. At 9:30, I came in here in the studio and taped a program with Mary Stein. Now, Mary's a young woman that's worked for us for a year now. Very happy in her work as our correspondence associate. So you send in a letter with a question or an email or get a phone call, and Mary helps to handle the responses to that. That show was taped here about a half hour. Then at 10 o'clock, got together again with the entire staff, and we got updates from myself about travels from our technology department, from our international department, from our Washington, D.C. office, and from our communications director. All those updates were given to the staff. Followed, that was at 10, followed at 11 by a meeting with our data department. And after that, let's see, I had, it was my time to donate blood once again. So I went down to the local office, just literally 2 minutes from our office here, took care of the blood donation. And then came back, and then at 2 o'clock I had another media interview, again with Jenna Ellis, but on one of her other programs. She has a podcast, she also has a radio show. So I did a half-hour interview with her, followed by a meeting with our executive director and our pastoral associate, Father Dennis Wild, who's been serving with us for 25 years. Then after that, at 3 o'clock, I came back in here in the studio and taped for one of our evening programs, did that taping. When that was finished, I went right into a phone interview with a reporter from the Washington Examiner. And she wanted to ask me some questions about pro-life developments and also the ethics of artificial wombs. So we did that interview. That was from 3:40 to 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, I joined the pastoral team, and we had a 1-hour meeting with one of our medical advisors, Dr. William Lyle. You may know him as the pro-life doc. We got a time with him. We were talking about medical developments in the pro-life arena, including surgery on the unborn child, brain surgery, and heart surgery on the unborn child. Can you imagine that? We were talking with him about a lot of things in terms of our collaboration. Then at 5 o'clock, I had another media interview. Came in here in the studio and did that national interview. And then went back to my desk, got end-of-day updates from the staff, did a little bit of other kind of work. I had a 7:30 p.m. Update, administrative update from Mark. And then at 8 o'clock, for about an hour and 15 minutes or so, we had our election training call that we have each month with election volunteers from across the nation. Our political coordinator was on that with me, of course, and we had a great time helping these folks to know what to do. I hope you're signed up for these election calls. Go to prolifevote.com. And finally, Thursday, the 21st of September, what did I do? Got up early and was doing some work in terms of scripture reflections, taped 2 of those early in the morning before the sun rose, and got them ready for the coming week. Had my 8 a.m. administrative phone call with our executive manager while having some quick breakfast. Then 8:30, full staff briefing. Again, this was part of our pastoral team meeting that we have every 6 weeks or so. So we had people together here from all our different offices. We got a fundraising update. We got a pro-life leaders update. We got an update from Father Dennis. We got greetings from Jerry Horn, our senior vice president. So that meeting went from 8:30 until about 9:20. Did some work at my desk. Let's see some of the topics I had to cover today. Oh, an ad that we're doing in support of Bishop Strickland. I'm sure many of you are expressing your support for him. Again, looking ahead to next year's trips to Heartbeat and communication about our workshop proposal. Talking about the snowbirds, inviting people that come down to Florida to visit our office. Many of our supporters take the opportunity to do that when they're here. We always appreciate that. Preparation of our next newsletter for Priests for Life, preparation for many upcoming trips, and more communication with the Trump campaign and with others about his strong, solid positions for pro-life and making America great in so many different ways. Check out my comments about all of that. We went on with the morning to meet with staff and continue these pastoral team meetings. We had a 1 o'clock phone call with our media advisors and making good strides in getting new inroads into media. Then we had another pastoral team meeting at 2, this time focusing in on election strategies and activities, and a couple of other reports from some staff. Then at 3 o'clock, we had another meeting with the pastoral team where we discussed our monthly reading. We have them read a pro-life book every month. We discussed that reading, gave them the reading for the next month. Then at 4 o'clock, I was back here in the studio, taping a program for the evening's broadcast. Got end-of-day reports from staff, and then at 6:15, I drove over from Titusville to Cocoa Beach. So about a half-hour drive. On the way, a guy was on the phone with Mark, guy getting an administrative update for the day. Arrived there at Cocoa Beach, went to one of the hotels and met up with the president and founder of NIFLA, the National Institute of Family and Life Advocates, longtime friend and colleague in the movement, Tom Glessner. He was there for several days to do a training of various pregnancy center directors, and we are very supportive of his work. So I had a dinner meeting with him. We had a strategic meeting. In fact, we sat down also with some of the various center directors that were present from all over the country. But basically it was Tom and I, but then we met with 6, 7, or 8 of these guests separately, individually, and in twos. And it was a great evening of encouragement. Then I drove back from there. I guess we finished up there about 9:30. And as I drove back to my Titusville office, I was actually doing work on the phone with one of our staff who was working the late shift that night on travel. So helping out our travels department. These are the people who process the invitations that we get to come and speak in your communities and churches and pro-life events. And he was hard at work, and I was on the phone with him for about a half hour, and we sorted through some details of upcoming travel work, invitations, and plans for the trips, which I enjoy so much, and which, like all this other work, I never get tired of doing. We are completely an open book for you and transparent about our work because we love it. It's something that we love talking about, and I hope that it encourages you in your work for the unborn, because there is no cause more important in our day than the pro-life cause. Stay involved, get more involved. Thanks for supporting our work, and we'll be back next time with another Daily Diary update. Pro-life leader Frank Pavone here. God bless you.